You're listening to the Grown and Growing podcast with Sonia and Roberta. Welcome back to the Grown and Growing podcast. I'm Sonia.
And I am Roberta.
This is our last episode of the season.
Last episode of the season.
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations to you.
Oh my gosh. How do you feel?
I feel good. I feel it's funny. When we first started and just the setup and everything and the conversations, I just felt like I was talking to you like regular, like on Zoom. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until I saw like the photos we took and the little thumbnail on Spotify. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. We're actually like doing a podcast and it's out in the world.
It is out in the world. There's no hiding.
Here, right. The things that I was just thinking I was talking to my friend about. So it took me maybe another episode or two to get over that. But one, I'm glad I did it. It was been a lot of fun. And yeah, I don't know. I think we've grown more as friends during this season, which I'm very grateful for that as well.
Definitely. I mean, the conversations we've had, we've never probably would have had them outside of. Sometimes having a topic just allows us to delve into areas that we either talked about or we talked about a long time ago and we've grown since then. I do think that it has deepened our friendship in a way that I definitely appreciate. One thing I love about having you on the podcast, number one, it did go exactly as I thought it would go, like with our conversations. There are a lot of areas where we kind of see eye to eye, but then there are places where we're just so different. And I love when those differences come to the forefront, because it was my thought that I'm like, I want more voices, more perspectives to be shared on the podcast. And so I knew you would bring that. And so I'm glad it all worked out.
It worked out too.
Yeah, what I'll say is, I think it did challenge me though too, in that the way that I think. So I was just a solo person, just put my head down, do the podcast, do my thing. I didn't have to check in with anybody, which is a good and a bad thing, right? I thought it was, at the time when I wanted a co-host, I was like, I just really wish I had somebody to brainstorm with. And now I have that. But at the same time, you are giving up some of your autonomy to bring in this other voice, this other perspective. And I had to make sure that I was consciously trying to do that for you to make it feel like a space that you could belong and you felt like your opinion was also respected. I mean, I have a bossy tone, but
do you now?
But you also know that about me, but you still felt open enough to just leave your opinion and lead with your ideas. I mean, you're great at reorganizing the outline. That is your strength. In another way it challenged me was, which I wasn't expecting, is the banter that we have. Some of it is planned because we have an outline, but an outline does not tell the whole story. There is still, in the moment conversations happening. And I had to get used to that, because when I did solo episodes or when I did things by myself, I could just spend time crafting exactly what I wanted to say, thinking about saying it exactly the way I wanted to say it. And if I messed up, I could go back and re-record it, because I didn't have to schedule with anybody. I could just redo it and nobody would be none the wiser. But I felt like here I was more exposed, more vulnerable. I can see why when people have podcasts and they say, eventually you're going to say something dumb. You're going to say something that you regret. Because it is so true. You're doing so much talking in the moment that you're eventually going to say something crazy. Like everything that I thought did not come out of my mouth in the way that I intended. Did you have any of those moments?
The first couple episodes, I told you, I just had a certain comfort level of me thinking it's just me and you, on a Zoom or something. And I'm like, I kind of need to be mindful of what I say so that I'm not taking fully out of context, because that's there's a level of understanding and a comfort that you know me and you know my character. And even if I say something that might be slightly out of pocket in that moment, you have that baseline
Yeah,
of like, trust and like in my
for sure.
whatever. So it was hard for me to speak from a place sometimes of being like fully authentic and honest and open, but
Mhm.
having the understanding that the people listening to me don't necessarily have that, and they might take something I say the wrong way.
Exactly. I was like, wow, I was so carefully crafted before. I was like, I wonder if people think like, oh, this person is completely different than the person I was, when I really got to
Huh.
think through what I wanted to say and craft it in a certain way, crafted in what I would say is a better thought out. See, this is what happens when you're talking loud. You can't even get it out. um in a more crafted version of yourself. You're allowed to edit, you're allowed to do all these things, but I don't have that with you, which is exhilarating but also very vulnerable. So
Solutions, only trade-offs.
yeah. So what was
Saying.
your favorite episode?
I have two.
Okay.
One was the friendships episode,
Mm-hmm.
episode 78.
Why that one? That was a long one. We talked
That was
forever.
a lot. I think that was why, because it was just more of a conversation. We talked about like certain things that happened in our either recent or like long time ago. They're still impacting
Mm-hmm.
ourselves now. And like we were able to reflect each other in ways that like, because we remembered the person that was 10, 15 years ago and the things that
Mm-hmm.
happened and were going on. So it was a lot of seeing myself and ourselves in that conversation,
Mm-hmm.
but also kind of like looking at outside perspectives at the same time. I don't know. It was just really interesting to me in a cerebral way that I like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The other one was episode 81, which was Am I Too Grown for This? Which I just thought was
Right.
funny. It was
Yeah.
fun.
I really liked our lighthearted ones the most. I
Yeah.
agree. I loved one of my favorite things to do is laugh and joke around and talk. And so I'm going to say my favorite one was the anti-aging versus aging gracefully,
Hmm.
because I think we had decided to record two podcasts in one day, in one night.
Yes,
And
yes,
we
yes,
were
yes.
so loopy.
Just punchy and like whatever. Yeah.
We did not care. And just like I don't care right now, I'm going to turn on my fan because I'm sweating. I think I have like,
Not a Perry. Not your friend Perry.
first of all, this is not Perry. This is like, it's hot in here. That's all. That's it. I don't know a Perry. I don't know nobody named Perry.
Over.
So as I'm talking about my favorite podcast being anti-aging versus aging gracefully, flicking on the fan,
Right.
and then get somebody else to do it, which is
Yeah.
episode 74, which is the first podcast we recorded together. I really like that one because it was so out of my comfort zone in what I talked about.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it was that was the episode I think that people felt the most, that I got the most feedback about. It was fun to talk about, and I just liked it because it was just, again, so far outside of what I probably would have pushed myself to do alone. So it was a good conversation
Yeah,
too.
it was a good conversation. And actually, the topic of that episode is kind of a good segue for getting into what we're going to talk about today.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. So this last episode is about living well as Black women, and we're going to talk a lot about what has been coined the soft life and what that means, and like if we're living that. So I just want to put things in context. So in the last 6 months in this city, and I'm based in Washington, D.C., Lord help me, we have seen like mass layoffs and protests and freaking Snoop Dogg headlining a crypto ball here, and most recently, a military parade costing upwards of $45 million to honor Big Baby's birthday.
Big
It's
baby. And it was a flop. It
and it
was
was a flop, but like this is just the last 6 months, and this is on top of already like one of the most disappointing elections in like
mm-hmm.
the history that I have of voting, of knowing
Yeah.
about it. And so I say all that to say, like, I think it's really important to seek peace,
Mm-hmm.
and actively find peace and comfort in this chaotic world, because the
Yeah.
only thing that we seem to be able to control is ourselves and the amount of joy in our lives.
Yeah, I wanted to do this episode too because number one, I think summer is a perfect time to reassess, to take a break, to slow down if you can, if you have the privilege of being able to do that. And so it's our last episode, and it's definitely something that I want to leave people who listen to this podcast with, like, make sure you take care of yourself. But to that end, right, all of the things that 45, 47 has been doing in the last 6 months, on top of that, we have a budding war that has the potential to expand into something greater, happening right now. And it's like, what do you do? What do you do? So I was scrolling social media, I think it was last night, and I happened to pass this article on The Guardian. And when I say I felt seen, I felt like, I was like, there's a word for this. There is a word to encapsulate what I've been feeling for the last 6 months since Donald Trump has been in office. And it was an article that really talked about these two parallel worlds that we're living in. One, where our governing systems are basically being destroyed. And then there's this other parallel where you have to go on living your daily life. You have to pick your kids up from school. You have to go to work, and you may never acknowledge or never talk about the fact that the thing that has kept our government, I'm not going to say working, but sustained for all of our lives, is crumbling before us, but we don't talk about it. And they call that hyper normalization. And that's exactly how I feel. I'm like, this is what I feel. I feel like when I go to work, we're talking about campaigns. We're talking about what we're going to do in the next 3 years. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, is this going to exist? And no. What's for dinner? You said hyper normalization. Yes. Are we going to Disney? Like, you're like planning vacations. And it's like, okay. But it is this dichotomy. And I probably am more on the sensitive side when it comes to being hyper aware of what's happening in the world, because that kind of stuff appeals to me. And it's just hard for me to just go on normally. The world's not ending.
Yeah, I think that is happening with a lot of people. I think there might be two reasons for that. I think one reason is that we are experiencing some unprecedented times, some like really crazy batshit stuff, and that is out of the ordinary. And those things, most of those things, one, we don't have control over it,
Yeah.
so there's nothing that we can do. There's very little action that we can do to change that thing from happening. So it's that part, I think, that is pulling our attention. But also I think we've been conditioned, like trained, like literally physically, our bodies, in the kind of like scroll culture of like stories. So like on Instagram, like you literally could go from one story to the next. You can see Palestine and like some terrible shit going on there. And then you can have like puppies in your next story 6 seconds away. And
Yeah.
like you're just having through all this stuff. TikTok, I mean, that is pretty much what the whole thing is, platform is just like a whole bunch of like stories. And so your brain and your emotions are like ping ponging all over the place constantly. And so we've trained ourselves to be able to swipe to the next thing, which is good,
I was going to say.
but also like it's a coping mechanism. Like what
Yeah.
are we're going to desensitize ourselves to the point where we're going to lose even more empathy than we're already lacking.
Yeah, exactly. It is well, what can you do about it? Can you live in a constant state of awareness and vigilance is very, very tough to do, right? So what does a soft life look like in the era that we're living in now? How would you how would you define the word soft life? It hasn't been around that long, but
It hasn't. So when I looked it up, so there's one thing of like how it's been branded in my brain of like what I think about when I hear it, but then there's also like actual trend of this phrase being a thing. And a definition. So wait, so first I'm gonna start with the definition. Soft life refers to a lifestyle characterized by comfort, ease, and minimal stress.
Right.
It's about prioritizing well-being, self-care, and finding joy in the everyday, often in contrast to the pressures of quote unquote hustle culture. And they're saying this concept originated in the Nigerian influencer community and gained popularity as a way to intentionally create a more relaxed and enjoyable existence. So, yes, like those things is what, sure, soft life, but like what's been branded in my head is Black women specifically
Okay.
marrying older
Wait a
white
minute.
rich white men. Like if you have a soft life, like this is adjacent to the other phrase
If you
which
have a soft life, is it due to the white man? Like what?
that's
You
how it's
married?
been branded in my brain because like that's what I've seen so much on social media going back like the last few years. But then there was a whole like separate side movement of like hard wig, soft life.
Wait a minute. Hard wigs? I missed that. What is that? What is a hard wig? Soft. These things don't seem to go together. Is that a part of the hyper low normalization? What's that? What? What?
Google right now. Hard and soft life.
What?
Or go on Instagram. Oh man. Okay. So I think that is that part, like that kind of labeling is what make me think of like Black woman, white, rich white man
The whole
kind of
thing.
thing. But regardless, the notion, the underlying kind of like things that we just want to be treated nicely. We want peace. We want ease. We want comfort.
Mm-hmm.
And that those things, we're entitled to those things
Yeah.
and we should pursue them
To what end?
to our own comfort. To the point where we feel like we soft.
I asked to what end because that sounds great to me, but there is a part of me that's like, to what end are you living a life of ease and comfort and enjoy when you're in a world that's so tumultuous?
So, okay, I think, yes, that is a very valid question. I think,
Mm-hmm.
well, one thing in like the whole soft life notion and peace, and then there's other examples of it, right? There's like Nat Ministry who like emphasizes rest and resistances and all the things. I think there's value in that, so we can normalize that like rest is just a necessary part of life, and we
Yeah.
don't view it as a vacation and the thing that we can like temporarily do to recharge ourselves so we can get back to where we were before. Like, no, it should be normalized that like soft life. It shouldn't be a trend. This should just be a thing.
I agree. I think the term soft life is misleading. And I can see why it's kind of fading in the distance because it assumes that I feel like there is a sort of a privilege to having a soft life and that you don't have any problems, that you are just, golden all the time. And that's not really how life go. Nobody's life is well, there are people who definitely live a soft life in that way, but the majority of us don't have that luxury of living in that. But at the same time, I do think that the soft life is like you said, is a counter to hustle culture, sleep when you're dead kind of thing. But I think what we got to learn is how to combine the two. Yeah, and I feel like everybody's moving away from the term soft life. I don't know why, but I think for the world that we're living in now, people are saying, I'm gonna sit this one out. This is not our fight. Is that the new soft life? Like, this is not our fight. It's not a soft life, but it seems you're hearing that more so than you're hearing, I'm over here living a soft life with my, fan.
Right. I mean, the context I've heard it like use soft life is not in opposition to anything. It's not saying that I'm not going to do this anymore, whatever. It's more like, no, I want someone to pamper me. I don't want to have to do anything. I don't want to work. I don't want to do these things. It's like my choice of to do these things. Right. And it's more about that and more about agency and not wanting to participate in certain things.
Right. I was going to say it's not about avoidance of. Is it about avoidance or is it?
I don't think so.
I was going to say it's not about avoidance until you finished your last sentence. And I was like, oh, Maybe it is about avoiding work, avoiding the things that bring you discomfort and disease. Um,
Maybe. I mean, I could maybe see that, but for me, a soft life is, um, yeah, ease and comfort.
yeah.
And if I want to go volunteer and do something, then I'll do that. It's not
Yes.
laziness. It's
Right.
I need an extended, indefinite nap.
Okay. I need an extended indefinite nap.
I
So
just need to
I
rest.
think in the time that we're living in, like if you want to live a soft life and however you define that, I feel like people can go and define. At the end of the day, though, I feel like we need to balance living that soft life to also being an engaged citizen. And
Yeah.
how do we, make room for both? How do we make room to be soft and also be engaged to be able to fight for the country that we want to live in?
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, they can be opposing concepts, right? They can be opposing because the urgency in which things happen in the world, people getting, kidnapped off the street. There's Israel dropping bombs, nuclear conversations happening. Those are all like interrupting what we would consider a soft life. And so there's always this push and pull of being engaged doesn't have a time stamp on it. It doesn't come in when it's convenient for you. It just kind of happens. And so I think that's what makes it hard to try to maintain these two things.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think there's one stance of, it could be selfish for you to choose yourself and to choose rest and all these
Hmm.
things. It might be, but I'm no good in the fight. I'm no good in the resistance
Correct.
if I haven't rested.
Right. If you're burnt the heck out, right? If you're burnt out, I do. And I think I think what I'm learning in this time period in listening to other people, particularly around Black people, I think Black people have a unique, perspective about this. And I'll even go as far as to say Black women have a unique perspective about this because there's so much that we already carry, right? There's so much. I think back in my favorite episode, where we talked about, just living in this new world, with, Trump in office. I said that like black women tend to be the conscience of the country because we know that anything that happens is going to negatively affect us almost double than what it does somebody else. And so we're constantly looking out for what's in the best interest of everybody else, which is ultimately in the best interest of ourselves. And so we just have this unique experience with, being engaged. Like we put our bodies, not we, but our parents, our grandparents,
Yeah.
put their literal bodies on the line to put all of these a civil rights act into place to get us to where we are, and people are literally undoing it as we speak.
Yeah.
And forgive us if we don't want to run out there and be like, you know what, we're gonna do that again. We're gonna do that again.
Right.
Because now, I was gonna say this time, but this time they coming for everybody. You think it's hey, thumbs up. You agree? You think it's just us, but ultimately it's coming for everybody. And so I do think to some degree we get to pick and choose how we want to be a part of this movement because it's going to take everybody. So,
Yeah, yeah. I think one piece of this is maybe to not necessarily put them in opposing contexts.
yeah.
So instead of saying, okay, like, well, we have to choose one or the other, you can't do both at the same time. Perhaps there are way, that both can be accomplished. We can be engaged citizens who enjoy a soft life.
Hmm.
So I think that requires a level of reflection on your values
Hmm.
and seeing, how you can design a life where care for yourself and for the world has some overlap and they
Yeah. There's
reinforce each
definitely
other.
things that different ways that resistance look like. Like it can be boycotting Target. It could be boycotting Target, Walmart, and Amazon.
Right.
Right? It's like pick your own adventure.
Well,
You
the
could
level of
be
your capacity, and that again, that I
the
think that
level of your capacity. Yeah.
ties in with the soft life.
Yeah. I think that's so good. Like the level of your capacity is so true. Because again, like they always say, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Yes.
And so you can't give what you don't have to give. And that's why I think what's so nice about everybody working in their own capacity, in their own way, because that allows us to pick up when somebody needs to rest. So you're doing this over here, okay, you're resting, I'm doing this over here. I'm gonna, read this different book and educate you on it. Let's all read the same book. Let's all, give back to the local communities that we're in, so that people who are closest to us in our neighborhoods don't have to suffer as much, or they're not suffering as much as they could under I was going to say a regime, but under a administration that doesn't give a crap about them. So again, many ways um, to look at how you're engaging with people. I like the idea of what you said about making sure you encompass both, because I think it's the joy, it's the ease that makes you feel energized to want to go back and fight the good fight.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're choosing to, and it's more of a choice versus I have to do this thing.
Yeah. And honestly, I feel like if you don't have those pockets of ease, joy, rest, it just makes you more like the enemy. It makes you
Yeah.
bitter.
Yeah. And again, not even pockets, but just have a level of like you can live your day-to-day life and have enough of that you feel full and sustained of rest.
Exactly.
So, a couple things we talked about was ways to incorporate a soft life that you both deserve and can afford, and with time and or money. So one thing was letting go of the things that don't serve you.
Mm-hmm.
So material items, but also habits and people.
Yeah.
Eliminating some of the news and the potential overwhelm. I think letting go of certain things will bring you more into that softness, into that ease and that peace.
Yeah, I think, we had a podcast about the soft life and all of those things. One of the things that I think everybody should brush up on before you kind of enter the soft life, because you want something that is sustainable, that you can maintain over the long run. Right. And in order to do that, I feel like you got to have the right boundaries in place. Mm-hmm. So I always recommend that book, Set Boundaries, Find Peace, by Nedra Tawwab. I think that's her name. But that's definitely the name of the book. But it's such a good read on how to set boundaries around your family members, which is probably the most important, your work. It does a really good job of helping you establish those boundaries in order for you to maintain the peace that you are seeking. There has to be boundaries, because people gonna try you. They gonna try you, okay? Like even the people that love you the most are going to try you. And so having that, knowing when to say no, knowing when to say yes to things, yes to yourself, super important. You can't do that though if you're going to feel guilty about it 2 seconds later.
Yeah. That's why you got to fully embrace the softness, your peace.
Fully embrace it. Don't ask me why I sang.
Nice little jingle.
Sorry. So to be examples, we're going to be examples. What are you doing this summer to lean into
my soft life?
Yeah. Your soft era, your softness, to lean into softness.
One would venture to say
you do have a pretty cushy life.
I don't want to say cushy, but I mean, it's pretty drama free.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the summer, I can't believe like summer is here, like here, not even like spring, but summer. So the good thing about my job, many good things about my job, but one of the good things is that, so I'm currently hybrid, and July and August, we're fully remote. Mm-hmm. So I feel like I can get my wings back. So what I would love to do, what I could absolutely see myself doing, is spending a couple weeks, 2 or 3 weeks in working from Italy or south of France.
This is why you have a soft life currently, but go ahead.
Oh no, a soft life would mean somebody else is paying for it. Like there's somebody going to flood me out. It's just, that's a real soft life. No, the ability to do it is a privilege, it's a blessing. But anyway, that's what I would love to do. Have I planned anything? No. So I'll likely be here in DC and or West Grove, Pennsylvania.
Is it Italy or bust, or is it south of France or bust, or can you work from Mexico? Can you work from Spain? Can you work from Virginia Beach?
Give me a laptop. I'm there. I'm logged on. No, it can be anywhere.
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't want to go anywhere that was too hot. I mean, July
Hmm.
and August are hot months in most
Yeah.
places.
And expensive.
Well, that part.
Yeah. I'm sure you'll figure it out.
I'll
I
figure it
will,
out.
yeah, you will
You'll
be.
open Instagram and I'll be on some beach somewhere.
Oh, you know what? We didn't even say your wine today. What are you drinking?
And the funny thing, and I have bubbles to celebrate our last episode.
What is it? Bubbles? What kind of bubbles?
So this is one
Champagne.
of the, no, this is sparkling wine from California. One of the fun things about actually working in the wine industry, especially retail, is that you do tastings. And so
Hmm.
people, distributors, makers just give you wine, taste it, see if you want to sell it. So this is what this is. This is my first time having it.
Do you
It's
want to
actually,
sell it?
I, I need to talk to my business
Oh,
partner.
it's in a
It's in a
can.
can,
It's
so
very, I can't see it because you have your fuzzies on,
I'm not really
but
doing my
bring it closer.
influencer thing.
Okay. Come on, influencer. There you go.
Boom, focus. Okay, but no, this is Los Cuernos.
Hmm.
It's the a Brute Bubbles. California. What grape is this? That's one of the first things I always try to look for. What grape? I'm not finding grape. Wait, what is this?
Mm.
Yeah, womp womp. That might be a hindrance. But anyway,
I just
I'm
had the
drinking
dumbest
bubbles.
thought. I just had a thought. I was like, why don't they make wine out of other fruits? Do they?
Yeah, yeah, rice wine. I mean,
It's not a fruit.
sake. I mean, other like things. Then yes, there's honey.
Like
Well, that's not a
similar
fruit either.
to a,
Honey wine. Uh,
okay. Like an apple.
that's a cider, like a beer.
Okay. I guess they do. Okay. Like a
There's
strawberry. Strawberry doesn't have a lot of juice to it though.
no, there's a pawpaw wine. But I think it's mixed. It's like it's like a hybrid. It's like a mix with grapes, like grape
Mm.
juice. Yeah, I've seen a lot of things blended.
Blended, but no.
I haven't
Maybe
had all
there's
the
a market
ones.
there.
Right. I mean, there's
I'm gonna take this thing that was thousands of years old and I'm gonna flip it on its
all
ear.
right.
Well, anyway, well,
Anywho,
thanks for
summer.
having bubbles.
Yes, I have Bubbles celebrate our last episode of the season.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's my summer plans. That's how I'm gonna kind of soften up my life. What are you doing this summer?
Well, I thought you'd never ask. So I am having what I am calling an analog summer.
Mm,
Analog. I'm going back. I'm
okay.
going back
You gonna
because
dress in the 80s gear? What does that mean?
so an analog summer to me doesn't mean I'm dressing in 80s gear because, it's not necessary to do that. But I want to log off more. I want to log off of social media more. I even want to take a break from my beloved podcast more.
Yeah.
I'm an avid listener. I love listening to all kinds of things. I'm actually listening to this podcast about the death of this lady who lived in Georgetown. She was a painter. Anyway, and she was having an affair with JFK. And she ended up murdered on the Georgetown towpath. Anyway,
What?
I'm listening to
All right, you
that.
gotta send me that one.
And it's by, what's her name? She was a reporter on CNN. Anyway, so I just want to take a break from listening to podcasts, from definitely being on social media, because
Yeah.
social media, God, it's like a double-edged sword. First of all, it's a time suck. You go on there and you're like, I'm gonna do one thing, and then 20 minutes later you look up Murder on the Towpath with Soledad O'Brien.
Oh,
That's the name of
Soledad.
it. Yeah.
So raw.
Anyway, and it's not just about her having an affair with the president. It's also about an attorney who represented the guy. Of course, they blamed it on a black man. I said, of course. They blamed it on a black man, and his defense attorney was a black woman at the time. So anyway, it's good.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to take a break from them. I'm going to take a break and I'm going back to my first love, which is books. Actual books
Pages.
with pages. Yes. So I picked up audiobooks when I set this goal for myself a few years ago to read 50 books in a year. In order to do that, I switched to audiobooks, and I was very anti-audiobook at the time. But I switched because I was like, ain't no way I'm gonna be able to read 50 books if I can only read when I'm sitting down.
Yeah.
with a reading light, and that's the only thing I'm doing. So I picked up audiobooks, read the 50 books, and I just continue to read audiobooks because I can read and listen when I'm walking, while I'm washing
Yeah.
dishes.
No, I have
Like I
audio.
could do so many other things. And so I decided to get back to reading books because it will slow me down. It is something that I got to slow down to do. I have to find the time to do. I enjoy it. This is actually, I've already started that. I read Kennedy Ryan's book that's out now. My memory, look, if I did know Perry,
She is sitting right next to you.
if I did know her, she would be taking my memory because I can't remember anything. I can't remember anything right now. Even the last
I
book
don't
I
even
read.
think I think that might just be just a general age thing. Because my homeboy over this weekend, oh my God, he could not remember a thing. Like literally, there was like in each conversation, like at least one thing that he could not remember.
Yeah. So before I can't get enough, child. I read that. It was so good, but to get back into the act of reading a book, it's a whole
Yeah.
thing. It's like you have to get your imagination involved. You have to,
Mm-hmm.
think about like It's just I was a little rusty. I was surprised. I'm like, oh, I'm a little rusty because the story is not being told to me
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the author's in
Like
the way that
literal
the author
voice.
would have me have them, right, in their voice. And sometimes they have sound effects nowadays, child. It's a whole production. But I was a little rusty at it. But at the end of that book, I just felt very energized, like I wanted to read more. So I'm going
Okay.
back to reading. I'm reading Octavia Butler's. The next one is Kindred, and then I'm reading another, which, look, I said I want to live a soft life, but I feel like I'm setting myself up.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to mix maybe a little
You're an engaged citizen.
romance in between these two or something to break it up. So that's one. Getting back to reading books. Other thing I'm doing is getting back to writing. I recently
Okay.
took like a 5-hour writing course just to kind of like jumpstart your creative writing. Loved it. And it just made me want to tap into that again. So I will be journaling more. I will be looking for another writing class to take.
Okay.
I know AI is out here taking everybody's job and making it easier. But for me, I feel like I don't feel like AI could really capture what an author can do. And maybe that's a challenge to me. I will eat these words probably in 25, wait, according to them, 10 years, 15 years. But there's something about writing that I love and I don't do as often. So I'm going to do that. So that is my analog summer. I have a
Okay.
beach vacation coming up where
you
that's what I
going
plan
now?
to do. What do you mean now?
You
I
just,
know you're
you
not
just
talking.
get back from Belize.
Yeah, but that was a long time. Yes. But my family didn't go. They need something to do. You're going to the Outer Banks.
Okay.
And so that's what I'm doing. It's gonna be chill. We don't have too much planned. I'm going to see Beyonce in Houston. But other than that, I just look forward to coming home, not editing a podcast.
This reminds me of Unplugged Sundays,
Mm,
where I used to do back when I used to live in Philly.
mm-hmm,
When I was in Philly, I had Unplugged Sundays. So
mm-hmm.
basically, from sun up to sun down, I did
Right.
not have any kind of phone, like nothing on the phone, nothing.
Dang,
No
sun up to
TV.
sundown?
Yeah, no
You
TV,
taking it to
no.
another level.
Right. It was just completely analog. And I would always end the evening like this. I would go to this one sunset yoga class, and it was candlelit.
That's so you. And I don't know if I'm taking it that far, but I do like the idea of unplugging for a day, right? And first of all, I would just love to unplug for a day and just read an entire book, like get through the whole book from cover to cover. Like leave me alone. That's all I want to do. Like if I could do that, then I could definitely do that and not want to get online. The book is really good.
Yeah. Well, you got to set yourself up.
I do. I think I may take that. Look, I don't know if it's every Sunday. We'll work
Yeah.
my way up. I don't know.
Actually, and honestly, after doing it I think I just did it for a summer, I did get the Sunday scaries less.
You should do it with me.
I Let's do it. I think I posted this on Facebook, like, or somewhere. Like,
Girl, I don't check my
I
Facebook.
know this is like
You're not
2
even
years
on
ago.
Facebook anymore.
I know. But I think I was like, anybody want to do it with me? And I think one other person did, and we never did it. But yes, let's
It's okay. Social media thinks you did, and that's
do
all that
it.
matters.
It's all that matters. So yeah, so we can start doing. I don't know how we hold each other accountable because we can't text each other.
What do you mean? You can call.
Unplug? No. So okay, well,
Wait,
when I
okay,
did
what are
it,
the rules? What are the rules?
when
What did
I
I sign up
did,
for?
it was completely like I did not even like have phone conversations or any kind of contact with another human being unless I
Brother,
interacted with
that's
them
too
in
far.
person.
That's too far.
Well, no, but
Nobody
it
doing all
encouraged
that.
me to like make plans before Sunday to meet a friend in person. Like I was more intentional because I was like, okay, well, if I know I'm not going to be able to call this person on Sunday, let me make plans with them to meet for coffee. So I already know I have that baked in, which is going to meet at a certain time. So it
So you
and
were trying to isolate
no, that
yourself.
no, I was
Oh,
trying to be more
intentional about
mindful and
right.
intentional, like yes, about my like daily actions, but also it's more about like my connections to people
Mm-hmm.
and kind of in a way forcing myself to have more in-person interactions.
Mm-hmm.
And it really helped. Like it really
That's
helped.
lovely, but I don't want to go that far. I don't want to go that far. I only want to go as far to say no social media, no podcast,
Okay.
no YouTube. That's my other new love, YouTube, out of nowhere.
No, I can't. I don't. Mm-mm.
You got to find shows. You got to find shows. It's like podcasts, really.
Right. I don't need
Too.
another thing that's going to like absorb all my time.
Well, here's the thing. I don't watch TV as much anymore. I don't
TV.
watch the news. I used to watch CNN. Now I listen to independent journalists on.
You're such a nerd. You and your books and your independent journalists.
I listen to independent journalists on. But it's so good. I was so anyway. I'm so proud of them. I'm like they're trying to mimic like I mean they're never going to be as polished as CNN because they don't have the staff and the money, but they do a good job.
Yeah.
So I trust these people, and they're a lot less, stuffy. But I can't turn on mainstream media because it's just
No.
it's awful. So
So okay, so this summer we're gonna have more analog, more again, soft life,
chill time, more
chill
time outside for
time,
me,
resting.
more walks. Yes.
Oh, we sound so old. A couple years ago, I might have been. This gonna be hot girl summer.
No.
Yeah.
No. I can't even get my knees to no. Sitting too long. This sitting for these little 45 minutes, right?
Oh my
I know I'm gonna pay
gosh.
for it when I stand up. Who am I to sit down for 45 minutes straight?
Say, who are you? Okay, and on this episode of Grown and Growing, two
Yeah.
old broads signing off.
Signing off. When are we gonna sign back on, Roberta? When are we
We'll be
signing
back. We'll
on?
be back in the fall.
In the fall.
In my season. I'm a Libra. Somewhere in there.
I don't know what that means, but
Okay.
yes, you're leaving. Okay, we're signing back on in the fall. New episodes. We're gonna try to do. Well, we don't know what we're gonna
Stay
do because we're gonna
tuned.
be so rested.
Right.
The ideas are
might
just gonna flow. So we will see you in the fall.
In the meantime, like check out our past episodes this season.
Please,
Check
yes,
out
we
our
will still be
faves.
promoting those on our social media sites. We will still be promoting those.
Stay tuned.
Thank you guys for watching and listening, and we will see you next time.